today I'll be critically examining the financial and strategic challenges involved in establishing an esports startup business. Now, this presentation will explore how esports differs from traditional industries, the major funding and operational barriers facing entrepreneurs, and we will also dive into both successful and unsuccessful examples, in addition to the key stages involved in developing a sustainable esports organisation. There is a lot to unpack here, so I hope that you're ready. So, first things first, it's important to start right at the beginning. What actually is a startup? So, to clear things up, a startup is generally defined as a young, innovative company designed for rapid growth under certain market conditions. Now, within esports, these startups can be seen across several sectors, including competitive organisations, tournament operations, broadcast production, and content creation. Now, what's interesting about this is that almost every major esports organisation or company we recognise today originally started as a small startup attempting to establish itself. So, like any startup, the overall aim is to achieve sustainable growth and profitability. However, esports businesses operate within a particularly volatile environment due to unstable revenue streams, publisher control, and rapidly changing market trends. In an age dominated by sponsorships and social media, growth and sustainability do not always directly translate into financial success. Sponsorships are estimated to cover around 40% of the total esports market revenue. Now, despite these challenges, the esports industry has experienced massive global growth over the past decade. As you can see on the screen here, audience figures now exceed 500 million viewers, and the overall esports market has substantially increased, and both of these are projected to go substantially higher. And despite this, audience growth alone does not guarantee profitability. This leads directly into the main funding challenges esports entrepreneurs face. So unlike traditional sports industries with more stable income streams, many esports businesses heavily rely on sponsorship agreements and external investment to survive. So, following this, investor skepticism has also increased, mainly due to the financial struggles experienced by several high-profile organisations in recent years. So, businesses face high operational costs linked to staffing, production, infrastructure, and events management, while still struggling to generate sustainable growth in long-term revenue. So, one of the biggest reasons esports differs from traditional competitive or entertainment industries is sponsorship dependency. Sponsorships currently amount for a major proportion of esports revenue, meaning organisations become highly vulnerable to economic downturns and reductions in corporate marketing and expenditure. So as a result, many organisations generate significant online engagement but still struggle to maintain long-term financial stability. So, another major issue within esports entrepreneurship is publisher dependency. Unlike traditional sports, esports competitions are controlled by publishers who own the intellectual property rights to their games. So, publishers such as Riot Games maintain control over league structures, tournament access, and commercial rights surrounding titles such as League of Legends and Valorant. So this reduces organizational independence because esports organizations cannot freely commercialize competitions or media rights without publisher approval. As a direct result, startup organizations operate with increased operational and financial risk when attempting to establish sustainable long-term growth. So, one major example where all of this is relevant is FaZe Clan. So, despite becoming one of the most recognizable esports organizations globally and reaching a valuation of approximately $725 million in 2022, the organization later experienced major financial difficulties and was eventually sold for around $17 million. This demonstrated one of the biggest structural issues with esports entrepreneurship. Popularity and audience engagement alone are not enough to guarantee profitability. So let's move on to the stages of building a startup. So stages 1 to 4, market research and idea generation, business planning and funding, marketing and branding, and legal and operational management. Organizations must identify realistic market opportunities through audience research, competitor analysis, and industry trend evaluations. SWOT analysis can also be used to assess strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, as well as threats within the industry. Now, these can be viewed through sites such as social media and the news. Now, the second stage involves business planning and funding. Organizations must create realistic financial forecasts, revenue strategies, and long-term growth plans before attempting to secure sponsorships or external investment. However, increasing investor skepticism has made obtaining funding significantly more difficult within esports. So, the third stage focuses on marketing and branding. Esports organizations rely heavily on platforms such as Twitch, YouTube, and social media to build audiences and attract sponsorship opportunities. Strong branding and online visibility are essential within a highly competitive digital environment. However, audience engagement alone does not guarantee profitability, meaning organizations must effectively monetize audiences through other means such as merchandise, partnerships, and content creation. And finally, organizations must manage legal and operational responsibilities. This includes staffing, production demands, contracts, employment law, and GDPR compliance. Although many esports startups operate with smaller staffing teams to reduce costs, this can also contribute to burnout and operational instability over time. To conclude, esports entrepreneurship presents significant opportunities alongside substantial financial and strategic risks. Although the industry continues to grow rapidly through expanding audiences and digital media engagement, many organizations still struggle to establish sustainable long-term business models. Thank you for attending. I hope you found this informative.